Yep.
And also happening today, former President Trump due back in court. What is this, day 4?
Yep.
As the search continues for alternate jurors who can be impartial. The second hour of Fox and Friends starts right now.
Fox News alert, a U.S. official confirms Israel has launched a strike against Iran. It happened overnight. So far, no comment from Tel Aviv.
The strike was inside of a major Iranian military airbase that contains facilities associated with the country's nuclear program. But we know Iran's nuclear facilities are secure.
So we have not received any official statement from the Biden administration, but a source says the U.S. was notified before the strike and was not involved with it.
All right. Retired General Jack Keane joins us right now live from Washington with expert analysis. He's in a moment. But first, we go to Jeff Paul, who is live on the ground in Tel Aviv, where, you know, Jeff, we can see the city in the background. Is it business as usual, or are the people acting shocked that they actually struck?
It definitely feels like a normal Friday here in Tel Aviv. You see a lot of people out and about running their last-minute errands ahead of Shabbat. You've got Passover starting on Monday, so it is quite busy. The beach is packed right now. But in another sense, we are also waiting for the Israeli War Cabinet to meet at some point today. Obviously, this Iranian strike will be a topic of discussion. But one thing we probably won't hear from is an Israeli government official today. And that really goes in line with the military strategy from Israel to not comment on these targeted strikes. But regardless of if anything is said by Israel today, the strike itself really does send a loud and clear message specifically to Iran that they can hit within the borders of Iran where they want and when they want to. Now, this was considered a very specific and targeted strike. It was focused on the central region of Isfahan. It's roughly 200 miles away from the capital city of Tehran and also near the Natanz nuclear facility. Now, we should point out the site was not hit in the strike, and it appeared that a nearby airbase was the target. Iranian state media so far really downplaying this strike. They've reported the explosions that were heard in the region were from the Iranian air defense system responding to 3 drones, but have not mentioned the source of the attack. An Iranian official has also reportedly told Reuters it has no plans to strike back immediately. But curiously enough, a few hours before this strike in Iran, Iran's foreign minister was in the United States and spoke to CNN and made some comments about Israel and what they would do if Israel retaliated. Take a listen.
When we say at a maximum, we mean that if Israel commits that same mistake, our response will be regretful for them, immediate and decisive and definitive. If we come across a condition in which the United States of America puts itself beside the Israeli government in order to expand the warfare intentions, it is not within the interest of America to do that.
So very strong words from the foreign minister in Iran. But today, really no comments from Iran or Israel, as it seems both countries are trying to sort of de-escalate the situation so it doesn't widen out to a wider conflict. Brian?
All right, Jeff, thanks so much. So that's a rundown of where we're at right now. Let's get some analysis and some insight from 4-star General Jack Keane, Fox News' senior strategic analyst. Also, he authors the Institute for the Study of War. So if you need it, General, we got a map of the region, and we understand maybe 3 separate hits right into this province where we understand there's a military base and there's a nuclear facility. What else can you tell us?
Well, first of all, I think the most important question for the Israelis is what do they want to achieve here? And I think they made up their mind that they wanted to achieve a limited, narrow attack to de-escalate the situation, and it would not put pressure on Iran to retaliate. I think that was the objective. And so they have 3 means to do that. Cyber attack, which they do frequently and never talk about it. Covert actions, which they do frequently and never talk about it. Or overt actions, which we saw the Iranians do. They selected, in my judgment, covert actions here. What the Mossad has done in the past, back in 2020 at the Natanz nuclear facility, they blew up the centrifuge part of that facility and set back the nuclear program 9 months. In 22, they hit a drone manufacturing facility in Kermanshah. That's in the western part of Iran. And then in 23, right here in the vicinity of Isfahan, they hit a weapons facility. So, and this is the Mossad again, a lot of those hits, they're assisted, frankly, by Iranian dissidents in doing this. So Iran is very much aware of Israel's capability to reach into their territory and do damage to them. So that is not an objective that they're trying to achieve here. What they're really trying to achieve is demonstrate to the Iranians, we didn't fly our manned aircraft in there, we haven't hit you with ballistic missiles, let's de-escalate this situation. And we'll see what happens as a result of it. I really think Israel did two things here that's really smart. One, they didn't reattack right away. They let the international community work the situation here in terms of sanctions. Hopefully we'll get some tough sanctions out of this, particularly going against China, who's buying all the Iranian oil and they're flush with money. And then the second thing is what I'm just discussing here. The means that they chose to conduct this operation, the scale of it, very small, limited attack, and what they attacked itself, a military base, likely no civilian casualties and maybe no military casualties either. That is sending a message to Iran, but also demonstrating that they're not going to stand for Iran attacking Israel and not responding.
I understand if it is correct that there's significant drone activity here. This is where they build the bulk of the drones. I understand, too, a lot of their oil fields around here. I guess those are also ripe sites. Do you agree, General, that they picked the right place? And when the sun's up and the cameras get on it, what are you going to be looking for to see how effective this strike was?
Well, I'm not certain the strike had much effectiveness in terms of taking any significant military capability away from the Iranians. As I said, I think it's more symbolic. It's sending a message to Iran. Iran knows full well that Israel can strike any place inside of Iran.
General, hold that thought.
They've known that for years.
Yeah, hold that thought. I want to get your analysis of the Secretary of State. He is now speaking, and he will talk about what we were just discussing.
Prime Minister Maloney, my friend and colleague, Foreign Minister Hani, for not only their wonderful hospitality, but also their remarkable leadership. The G7 is in many ways a steering committee for the world's most advanced democracies. And we emerge from this meeting of foreign ministers more united than ever, more united in facing critical challenges that lie before the international community, including Russia's aggression against Ukraine, the conflict in the Middle East, and as well the importance of sustaining, supporting a free and open Indo-Pacific. These and many other subjects were the focus of our conversations over the last 2 days, which I found to be extremely productive. And again, what strikes me the most, and you can really see this over the last 3 years, is the extraordinary convergence in our approaches to these challenges, convergence between the United States, Europe, major partners in Asia. Let me touch on some of the most important things that we discussed and concluded over these past couple of days. And of course, I commend to you the statement that we put out or will soon be out on the part of the entire G7. First, the G7 condemned the unprecedented Iranian attack on Israel. Unprecedented in scope and scale. Scope because it was a direct attack on Israel from Iran. Scale because it involved more than 300 munitions, including ballistic missiles. We're committed to Israel's security. We're also committed to de-escalating, to trying to bring this tension to a close. You saw as well, or you'll see soon in the G7 statement, a commitment to hold Iran to account for its destabilizing activities, holding it to account by degrading its missile and drone capabilities. And yesterday, the United States announced additional sanctions on Iran, targeting UAV programs, the steel industry, companies that are associated with the IRGC, the Ministry of Defense, and its armed forces logistics. The G7 statement makes clear that G7 countries will adopt additional sanctions or other measures in the days ahead.